Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome to another edition of Track Walk and MX Simulator. Today I am playing the 2017 Trapland track by Kyle MX322 on the forums. And no idea what that means. I guess it has something to do with some sort of rap music. I don't know. Don't know. Don't listen to the music, to be honest with you. But I am going to play this track because it's a fun track. And I downloaded it, gave it a try a couple weeks ago. Maybe about a week ago now, actually, and I liked it, and I'll tell you why I like it as I continue to play this track. But first of all, just to give like a little synopsis about the track, it's to me it almost feels like kind of a strange mix between like some supercross and motocross sections. Like there's not really any like rhythm sections or whoop sections, but it's a pretty tight track, like almost like it could be a local track, like a little fair track, kind of like the SYS Raceway that I built. And there's some small sections, but there's some cool sections for sure, and that's kind of why I like it the most. But there's just a lot of different kind of sections I'd never really like thought I would like that are on this track. And playing it more and more, I was able to kind of do some big lines that I thought were really cool and that I'm going to try to show off in this video. And as usual, it's a track that I thought was fun enough that you know, you should download it and play with your friends. So of course I'm gonna play it and show you guys what it's like and maybe try it out and download and play with your friends. But this is almost the end of one lap, so you come over this like triple / quad thing, and as long as you don't fall, you got a couple corners. You can kind of double this table to single, and then a big bowl corner. And you saw that the start comes from like behind those grandstands, and the finish line is right there. I don't really know like if there's a definitive line, but it's right next to that kind of tower thing that I went by on the right side of the track, and you can see I've clicked on lap number 2 now. So it's kind of one of those tracks that just is in a random spot for the finish. I'm trying to remember the last track that I think I played or maybe have heard of that the finish line was on flat ground. Can't think of one off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I know that tracks like Steel City, Southwick, I believe, even Glen Helen at one point, I think they had flat finishes, like it's just a line in the ground. But most of the time tracks it's like a tabletop for a finish, or a double, or at least a single, or something like that distinguishes a finish line jump. So a flatland finish line is a little odd, but it's not the end of the world, of course. I mean, usually there's not like a photo finish that would determine a flat line finish being a bad thing, because you're just going to cross the line in whatever order anyway. But so yeah, there's a couple cool things that I like about this track. One of them is this right here, that you can, if you don't screw it up like I just did, triple onto that tabletop. As you saw with the first lap, I doubled, you land in the ruts, then you can table, and then table single out of the section. That one, if you get a good enough drive, you can triple up onto the plateau. And the reason why I like things like that is because you don't necessarily think about it when you look at the track. At least I didn't. Like when I started playing, I was just like, oh yeah, double into the ruts, table down. Like that's just the line. And I kept going inside. Gosh darn it, why do I keep crashing? But I kept going inside in that corner before the tabletop, the double tabletop section, just doubling in, hitting the table, just like usual. And one lap I went outside and I was like, man, I got kind of close to tripling that, and then the next lap I came through and just tried to pop it and got right up on top, no problem. And the other triple that's a big kind of a hit is railing around the outside and jumping onto this table, which doesn't look that big because I just did it so smooth, but if you try it from the inside lines, it's pretty tough. I'm sure there's guys that can do it, but my talent level doesn't necessarily reach that level at the moment. And so I thought it was pretty cool. This is my favorite jump though, because it's pretty freaking hard to get it perfectly, and I've yet to like do it. It's probably the closest I'll get in this video. But going outside instead of doubling and then scrubbing down the tabletop on top of the hill, tripling all the way up to the top of the hill and just like riding down it, that's probably my favorite jump, because that is like a do or die kind of a jump. And what I like about it the most is that he made it so if you come up short on it, you can kind of save it. Like it's not an end-all jump, like you're going to crash. But it is one of those jumps that if you don't make it to the top, you get pitched really high in the air off that little tabletop thing at the top of the hill. So that's what I mean by it's do or die, is that like you can't you either have to smooth it down perfectly, or it's going to be even a worse line than what you would have done in the beginning, which is just double smoothly and then scrub the crap out of the top of the hill to stay low. So it's not like literally you're going to do it or you're going to crash. It's like a do it or you're going to lose a huge chunk of time. And then this down here, I've flubbed it 2 laps in a row, but you can quad this, at least on a 450, probably on a 250F, but you need to get a pretty good drive. And in general, it's like, it's a pretty fun track to ride. Like, the traction is pretty standard. I think most of these tracks that I play that are newer tracks, people use the 2017 Supercross traction, which is pretty grippy and works pretty well for most track surfaces. So I don't mind it, because I mean, Supercross tracks are pretty fun. Let's see if I can get this jump again. Oh, I clipped it. But yeah, that traction works pretty well. It depends on what type of track you're making, whether or not it will work well or not. Obviously, if you build like a sand track with a lot of rollers, this traction's probably a little too grippy for that, because then you just have a bunch of doubles on the track, i.e. doubling through all the rollers. This section coming up right here, by the way, is probably my least favorite section on the track, because this double thing pitches you so high in the air. You can like just send it into these rollers, but 9 times out of 10, you're so high in the air for so long that you lose time. And if you go real tight inside, that was a weird crash, you can kind of roll the first one, and then the rollers are, like, you can rhythm through them. And I like that line, it's fun to do, but I feel like with how slow you have to go to roll the first jump, you lose a chunk of time. And so I just don't like that section, because it's so, like, it's always like a question mark every lap of whether you're going to land in the right spot and whether you're going to do it right or whatever. There's tripling onto the tabletop. But I just, man, that's the kind of stuff in Sim that makes me feel good. Like, people love throwing whips in this game, and don't get me wrong, I do too. But I got so much enjoyment starting out this game, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago almost. Just trying to get the drive to do big lines and then doing them smoothly and just looking like so stylish and flowy while doing it. Like, that stuff was super fun. The old Supercross tracks in this game that JLV used to make were really, really challenging to do big lines, because he's made every jump face so kind of, it had a lip, but it was like really not that steep ever. Like, most of the jumps were almost like rollers. So you really had to try hard to do some big lines, and when you'd get them, it'd feel awesome. And I've told people numerous times that I don't recommend taking that route, but like, once you get to the point where you can do those big lines and do them kind of continuously, oh, this is clean right there, nice, got that triple up the hill, then it just feels so cool to do those big lines and flow and connect those lines together. So this type of a track is just, that's why it's probably so fun to me. Like, other than that, like, it's pretty standard. Like, the jumps are cool, you can throw big whips on a couple of them, but the cool, like, big hits that you can do on this track that you probably wouldn't think about doing unless maybe I showed you, or you really just like randomly found it one day. Not that they're like impossible to see as a possibility, but like this one, even, like, you have to go outside and really get this pop clean onto that tabletop. But it's still fun because you realize like how much time it saves you when you find a line like that. So that's why I like this track. There's numerous reasons why you could like this track as well. I think the environment's pretty well. This Kyle guy I've seen make a couple tracks before, work on a couple tracks, and his environments are coming around pretty well. This one it's got some grass on it, some grass billboards, and kind of makes it look a little bit better than if it was just the terrain. But even the terrain, like, he's laid the decals down really well, at least in my opinion. And he's got some cool statues all around, like that windmill that you go around at the top of the hill. There's all those little sheds on the right. Just a lot of cool little things about this track that, at least in my opinion, make it enjoyable enough to not only play, but also do a video on it, talk about it, give a little feedback. I'm really frustrated that I'm crashing so much, but this is pretty much just a standard with any video I do anymore in Sim. It's like, I played this track probably like an hour before I started playing it, not just today, but like overall. And I felt pretty comfortable on it. Like, I even put in a couple laps more today just to like make sure, like, yep, I'm good to go. Like, I'm gonna ride this track well and not look like an idiot. And then I crash on some real stupid looking jumps. So in this section, yeah, I'm not gonna land where I wanted to, but you can send it into the rollers. I'll do that. I'll do one more lap probably just to show that off. But again, it's like you have to do a little like cheat the simulator kind of thing where you land heavy on the front wheel and usually sitting down with the throttle off to be able to land it, which is totally not how you would land a jump that you're trying to ride out of. Throttle off, sure, but sitting down heavy on the nose, like that's a recipe for not having children anymore, mostly, but really just blowing out your forks to no level and probably doing some serious damage to your other bodily functions as well. But I digress. You know, it's just one of those sections that I don't know. Maybe he'll comment on this video and explain why he made a section that has such a unique hit to it that I haven't quite figured out where to land in it yet, but I would assume it's almost like you have to kind of double up onto that little tabletop thing over it, and then triple out would be probably the best line to hit there. But again, I don't know. Just that's raw speculation. No idea if that's the reality or anything really to compare to that. Let me try to get this uphill triple one more time, and this is gonna be the last lap that I do. Didn't get the best of run, but I still got it, so I must have got a pretty good seat bounce. And then this step up's pretty fun to get floaty on. So let me just send it into the rollers just to show you. Well, that's not gonna work. But you could quad in, and a front flip isn't really gonna show off what I mean by that enough. But you just can't really land it because you're so high in the air. So I wish you would have like maybe smoothed that jump in down just a little bit so that it wasn't almost impossible to land if you jumped really far into it and sent it. But that's just a small little complaint I have on the track. I'm not trying to be petty, but it really does look pretty petty when I complain about something like that. Anyway, still a fun track, still a good overall track design, at least in my opinion. I would definitely recommend downloading this track, giving it a go. It's nice to see that people still comment on these videos and say like, thanks for showing me the track, because like I said, that's my purpose with these videos, is you guys get a chance to see maybe a track you've never heard of or didn't see or didn't download or whatever. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Another track walk in the books here on SYS. If you guys like this video, bung it a like, subscribe, and hit us up with any comments, questions, or concerns. I would like, if you guys can, to hit us up in the comments section and maybe recommend some things you'd like to see. I know the World of MX Simulator is a much sought after series to come back, and I'm not completely finished with it yet, but there's a couple things I'm going to change about that series coming up. And then just in general, I'm going to try playing other games, other racing games that are coming out soon. The new F1 game, the new Gran Turismo, probably Forza, things like that. So just be on the lookout for things like that when they happen. But as for now, like, I'm going to try to get into MX bikes. I'm going to play more MX GP3, more Reflex now that Jeremy's not doing anything, more Supercross Encore. I want to do a multiplayer stream, like with subscribers, in one, if not all of those games at some point. So again, just feedback. Let me know what you want to see so that I can kind of coordinate that instead of doing the same thing every week and not really going anywhere spectacular. But yeah, again, thanks to you guys for watching the video. I hope to see you guys in our future videos on the channel. But Kellen is checking out. I'll see you guys in the next one.